Well, hello there. Here we go for another one. Exam objective 2.6, explain the importance of incident response procedures on Security Plus. So this is 20%. This is part of the security area, which is 20% of the uh, Security Plus test. So uh, if we come over here, we're just taking it from the exam objectives. So this is, once again, 2.6 right here. So this is what this, I love PDF files. So this is what we're doing today. Okay, so let's get into it. So for an incident, one of the first things you need to do is prepare. Get the documentation together as to what you should do. Have call trees so that you know how to call people. Because, hey, if your directory is down or whatever, know who to call for what things. If there's a rotating on call, make sure that it's accessible even when your systems are not. Train. Make sure that people understand what they need to do in case something happens. Go through the exercise of actually going through training when possible. I mean, if you can actually shut down your system as if it's a critical incident and have people follow through the steps, that's not a bad thing to do on occasion. Most people can't. But you might be able to pretend that it's down and spin it up in another area. In fact, once it's up and going, even cut over to that area and make sure it handles your traffic. So there's a lot of things you can do there with the training. A tabletop exercise is where you get together and you talk about the challenges that might happen and what you would and walk through it. Something interesting here. In fact, I should have. There is a game, Back Doors and Breaches. So there's this game, I'll link to it down below, that can help take you through kind of a tabletop exercise. It's not, it's okay. This is definitely more ethical hacking or CISSP type stuff. But it gives you an understanding of okay, we have this issue. How would we tackle it? Oh, here are some tools that maybe we don't have that could do things better. So maybe we need to implement these tools or train people in these areas. So document incident types and categories. What have hit you? What are you expecting to hit you again? What maybe you've got a letter from the FBI that certain people are looking at you, like anonymous, and so you might want to look at what anonymous has done recently. How might they attack you? That's a little harder since anonymous is kind of anonymous. They're not as active as they've been in the past, but they're still there. Roles and responsibilities. When there's an issue, one of the biggest challenges is people doing things that maybe they shouldn't do, thinking that, oh, I'm going to fix it. If I'm on call, for example, and I'm working on something, I don't want people rebooting things right underneath me as I'm trying to fix it. I'm like, I've already done the standard reboot, see if it fixes. And now I'm digging in to understand it, and I keep getting kicked off because someone else thinks it's a good idea to try and reboot it. Make sure that the roles and responsibilities are there and people are communicating well. If your tool for communication in a instant is the same as your other tools, that's probably bad because what if it's taken down? Make sure there's a backup, a way to communicate. Whenever possible, make sure you have two methods. Okay, so incident response procedures. Identify the scope. So we had this happen. What do we need to do? What is the scope of the challenge? Investigate. Contain the spread. Eradicate it if you can, so get rid of it, and then recover from it. So make sure that you don't let other things muddy it, and keep your evidence so in case it's requested, Sometimes you might think that nothing's bad's happened, but a year later you get a notice that, hey, your data is showing up on the dark web. Uh, what happened? And you might have to go back to an incident a year ago, and you realize, oh shoot, something did happen that we were unaware of. And then keep a chain of custody. Chain of custody is making sure that you're keeping track of things in a way that someone can't change it, manipulate it, that it's always, we always know who had it and when and why. Whenever possible, don't give people the actual stuff to work on. Give them copies. But even when you give them copies, make sure you document it so that if it's something that gets leaked, you know, well, it could have been a copy. And then, of course, post-instance lessons learned. Root cause analysis. There's a pretty good group that does root cause analysis. Give me just a sec. I think I can find it for you because I think it was Logic, yeah. Root cause analysis. This is one that I've been trained on. So just a root cause analysis and investigation. So I'll link to them down below as well. They do some trainings. They have their own charting and stuff. It's good to come back in after a nightmare and do a root cause analysis. Understanding what happened, when, at what point in time could it have been stopped, and what would be the cost to do that, and what should you do to protect yourself from the future. Just isolating it, eradicating it, and recovering from it is not sufficient because it can just hit you again. You have to do a root cause analysis to understand how we're going to avoid this from happening in the future. So anyway, see you in the next video.